Welcome in to episode 10. We're in episode 10 of The Well. I'm Drew.
And I'm Kat.
Welcome to today's episode. So I got to be honest. I was talking to Kat this morning about today's episode and I was apprehensive. I'm not sure I wanted to do it. Didn't love the topic. But the more she talked to me about it, I was feeling a little more comfortable and actually energized about it. There's one thing, actually there's lots of things, but we'll focus on this one thing. One question I get answered that stresses me out all the time.
You mean what you get asked?
Yes. Thank you for correcting. Yes. I don't know where that came from, but one question I get asked that I struggle to answer. What do I do for a living? And I always blank out and I kind of am like, how do I describe this? And then I often think people aren't going to understand or I'm not going to describe it clear. And so we thought we would talk about the things we do and why we do them, to clear the air, to set the record straight on what Drew and Kat do for a living, since it seems to be a mystery to many. Would you agree?
I would agree. And hopefully we don't bore you to death.
We'll let the
That is not going to happen
listeners-
because it's Kat and Drew. Hello.
That's right. Exactly. There. See,
Okay.
you're
All
just
right.
on point today. I am struggling a little bit. I'm struggling on the Sunday.
all right. I'll carry us.
I got a case of the Sundays. Well, cheers. I like it.
Cheers.
Well, you got the sticker.
I do.
Yeah. See, I
Okay.
need to drink because I don't know why. When I talk, my voice goes kind of hoarse. Over to you.
All right. Let's giddy up here. Okay. So, first question, straight to Drew. What inspired the concept of third entity, which is the name of our business?
What inspired it? So, what inspired it for me was I was going through a certification called Organizational Relationship and Systems Coaching. And we
Ooh.
learned, I know, right? Sounds fancy. It is actually. It's quite a really in-depth ingrained training. So I'll put them in the show notes. Shout out to Marita and Faith for all their mentoring and coaching of me. I'll have to share a funny story about how I entered into that coaching arena. But in any case, third entity, it's the unique living presence that emerges from a relationship or team that's existing independently of individuals involved. So it's often described as the personality or the voice of the system itself. When we talk about systems, we're talking about human systems. So for example, Kat and I, we have a third entity. There's a personality when we're together that manifests into a third entity. There's a personality to us being together. And so when I think of third entity, it's really ingrained in understanding relationship intelligence, right? Invisible but present, the voice of the system, externalization. So a lot of these concepts get pulled through and you can apply it to conflict resolution, family business, and you can even do it as an exercise. Now, this is where I'll tease the story a little bit. So when I heard this concept in certification in class, I was like, this is bull. No executive is going to buy this, right?
Yeah.
I am walking into this as with an executive mindset, leadership mindset. And the language, the taxonomy of all this felt like, ew, yucky. No, I would never say that in the boardroom, your third entity, or the universe is flirting with us, right? Like all these kind of coachy concepts. But in any case, so it takes a little bit to kind of wash the cold away when you hear some of these words. So, as we like to say in the coaching space, hold some of this lightly, understand the concept, and then the words don't become so triggering to some. But
Okay.
that's how I describe
awesome.
third entity.
Okay. Can I give my
Yes.
definition? Okay.
You didn't
So-
like
No, I did. You answered the question. I mean, that's really how it got started. And then we started talking about it and we work so well together that we always have this like really special, unique energy between us when we work together. So we're both unique individuals, but I always thought, okay, when two or more people come together, it creates this really cool energy and creates something brand new. So we thought, well, what a cool name for a business, Well, we thought it was cool, even if you don't. But we thought, oh, wow, that's really neat because that's what we want to do. We want to work with clients and we want to work with customers in creating this really positive, awesome energy and realizing the potential in others. Would you say that's accurate?
I would. The only thing I would say yes and to would be we kind of want this, we want work to be more humane. Right. So there has to be a level of humanity in the workplace that feels a bit non-existent anymore.
Yeah.
Part of like 20 years of my life in IT, right, in tech, has been trying to bring that into corporate America, which is, I mean, talk about pushing a boulder uphill, right?
Yeah.
Especially in fintech, right? Financial technology has a level of aggression that I've never seen in any other industry.
I would agree with that. I would say, sorry,
No,
go
no, go
ahead.
ahead.
Between the both of us being in corporate and even nonprofit settings as like jobs, it actually, in my opinion, doesn't matter where you work because there are more places that are not looking out for the employee more than there are companies that are. And I feel like it has become more like that in even the past 10 years.
And I think part of what we try and do is put the power back to the person to be able to understand how to read the system they're working in and understand how to make better informed decisions on how to navigate through whether it's internally or leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we also provide giving people the insight and introspect to be able to really focus on what do they want to do. I often would go into an organization working with, various groups of individuals, and no one could really describe what they wanted to do
Right, right.
at their job, like how they wanted to progress. Most people are like, "Oh, I want to be a manager. I want to be this or that." And I'm like, "Are you sure? You sure you want to do that?" Right? Like, just because you're a great developer doesn't mean you're a good people leader. Right? Is that
Right.
something you want to work on? Let's focus on building that skill set on what it means to be a people leader. Fortunately, a lot of the times you have to be a great engineer and a people leader. So anyway, so yes, I would agree with your statement.
But they're like you were talking about people who are within these systems that oftentimes are looking for opportunities to be better in those situations. Like I'll not dumb it down, but give an example. So you're talking about people that, and I hear this a lot too from people that are working in corporate or any kind of job where they're like, "Hey, I want to be better in my role. I want to be able to contribute more. I want to be able to navigate better." And I would say that's one thing that third entity offers. That's one thing that we do. And can you talk a little bit about your coaching background and what that actually means? Like what do you do as a coach, as, executive coaching or mentoring from that side of it on the third entity side?
I just call strikes and balls. That's all. Sorry, bad baseball reference.
Which I didn't get.
Yes, I saw that. I saw the blank stare and I'm like, oh,
It's
quickly
okay.
pivot, move away, move away. What do I do? So my coaching career started quite a bit ago, but I didn't realize I was coaching. So I have always enjoyed working with individuals to kind of unlock that intrinsic motivation or focus on what motivates people and truly what they think motivates them versus what the reality of what truly motivates them. So
Mhm.
let's say I love to work with people that are stuck in the sense of it's funny, all my teams, and shout out to all the people that I've worked with. I've tried to keep in touch with every single one and meet with them at random times. So it's always been a pleasure. And honestly, even my clients from my consulting days in prior organizations, still working with today. But it's really understanding almost how to manage up or manage out. So when I am working with individuals, and often I was put in teams I would affectionately call the land of the misfit toys, they didn't know where to put these people. So I
Mhm.
liked working with people that were challenging because sometimes those challenging people had the most desire for change. You just had to de-trigger the reason why they thought they needed change. So truly getting to, looking through the windshield and not just in the rearview mirror. Like we don't always have to reflect on the past to look towards the future. So how are we going to build the goals or create the goals, create those short-term wins to look at the momentum and and or build the momentum needed to achieve something different than where you are today. It may not be better, but the beauty of this is it's iterative. So we look at this as a cycle, and we may experiment in this for a very short amount of time, enough time to get data. There has to be data to support, and emotional data is hard. Right. We used to joke at one of the
Yeah.
organizations we worked at. I wanted to implement a review your week Amazon review. How was your week at work? Was it a 5-star week? Was it a 2-star week? Was it a 1-star week? And I thought it would be very compelling. And you're all welcome for this wonderful IP. If anyone ever implements this, give me a little bit of credit. But your Amazon review work week, right? And that would give the organization a data point to say, wow, morale's really low, as opposed to the once a year employee survey, which never
Right.
does anything, right? It's a retaliatory
Yeah.
tactic. Oh, it's anonymous. It's not. I don't care what anybody says. Me being kind of very senior in a lot of organizations, I saw everyone's name. So whistleblower, it's not anonymous, but we shouldn't be afraid to be honest. So it's like an oxymoron. They're telling you to be honest in the survey, yet we're afraid to be honest of fear of retaliation. So how do we upskill ourselves to really focus on not just complaining and seen as complainers, but truly understand how to put a stake in the ground and then look at the movement that we need to do to move away from that stake. So it's my super long-winded, boring answer to a tough question for me to respond to.
Good job. Okay, moving on to the next question. No, I'm kidding. No, I think that was a great answer. What?
Real quick,
Yeah.
I think you have a great story about that. And it's always amazing. And this is a terrible name, but I'm going to use the name in its purest form, is crossing edges or walking edges or an edge walker. And what I mean by that is I would work with clients and I would say, we're going to look at all the edges you crossed in a day. And we would make a little tick mark. And it was amazing. And an edge could be like, I need to speak in front of my team and I'm not comfortable doing that. I need to give a presentation. I need to complete this. I need to do, and you'd be surprised. And why am I saying this? Kathryn, you had this experience when you were building out someone's website recently.
Yes.
Would you care to share the experience?
Let me elaborate. Yes. So one of the things that I love doing at Third Entity is I love building people's websites. I love helping people and I love helping highlight what they're wonderful at. Because so many people, I mean, even myself, it's really hard sometimes to look at yourself and what you do. You have imposter syndrome, which I hear that a lot. People really say, oh, I'm not very good at this, or no, they downplay everything. So a friend of mine, actually, she's a fabulous artist. She does multiple different things, fashion, makeup, etc. And I thought, wow, like I didn't realize you had so many accomplishments. This is amazing, And so I had the opportunity to build a website for her, or update her website and build out social strategy for her, like create content and post across her social platforms. And, looking at it in kind of that portfolio view, like she and I both were like, wow, like look at all the things that you've accomplished through the years. And you should feel so proud of yourself. And, it builds confidence. And it's like, wow, yeah, like I do have talents. I do have skills. And this is great for highlighting it. And it's about the person. It's about the client. So that's one thing that I love doing through Third Entity is being
but
able
it's
to.
not just.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's not just like you go. It's not a cheerleading session. So I don't want it to come across as a rah, rah, rah. Reflection is hard. And when you show up as the mirror to a lot of people without preparing them for highly reflective work, it can be off-putting and super uncomfortable. So I think, as we like to say, I used to say this, probably shouldn't say it anymore, but the Dr. Phil moment, this is a safe space to talk about hard things.
Yeah.
And I think creating that level of trust, and we talk about trust as currency a lot, you need to trust the people you're working with, that they have your best interest in mind. And I think that's where a lot of leadership fails, is
so
we don't
true.
trust the people that are leading us, that they have our best interest in mind. So that's not how the reward system usually works.
That actually leads into my next question / topic. It's what values guide the decisions that we make within third entity and the clients we take on. And I think that's really important to talk about because, a lot of companies, I mean, we live in a capitalistic society, right? So there's not a lot of, okay, well, if you have money, great. I'm going to take you on as a customer or client. But I don't like doing that. And I don't feel like we do. We're very selective about our clients. So can you talk a little bit about that? Like our values and what we look for in a client. It's almost like interviewing a client, just like you're interviewing a company.
So the way that I look at it, and the reason I'm kind of looking up, and this is part of how you emote, right? Like, and I'll talk about that at a future point, but how you emote is super important. Your physical presence of how you present is important. So when I'm looking at a client, are they sitting like this? Right? Do they truly want this work to be done, or are they just entertaining a conversation? I'm not going to do the hard sell, right? Like to me, it's you're bringing us in for a reason. Let's talk about the reason. Let's
Right.
understand the reason. Let's understand what's achievable and what isn't. Let's talk in reality and not fiction, not a moonshot, right? Like everything can't be a moonshot or, the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal all the time. Like, how are we actually, I don't like this word, but everyone will understand it, decompose these ideas. And then so one of the exercises I love to do, and I am terrible at not protecting my IP, but as a former agile coach in recovery, I love sticky notes. So going into a room, let's
Ooh.
say two or three people
Uh-huh.
or more, and they work in silence. So literally you goal set saying what's important to you or what's important for you for the company or what's important for you for your job. And then you just have everyone write on sticky notes for
Mm-hmm.
a time boxed amount of time, 5 minutes. No one talks though. And it's amazing to see the difference of when people are talking versus people are writing. You start to see people looking over what are you writing? Oh, that's good. I'm going to take that. Or, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. I can't believe you just put that on there. That's going to get us
Uh-huh.
all in trouble. And then you take all these ideas and you affinity map them. So affinity mapping is like logical grouping. And then you theme it out. So across that, we'll start to see themes. And if it's morale based, if it's work based, if it's leadership based, if it's flow based, if it's impediment management, whatever it might be, we can then start to look at those and say, yeah, we kind of connect with that. That's our sweet spot, or that's the type of work that we feel we are best suited to serve. So that's kind of how I look at our clients in the sense of truly what's important and how are you going to build the momentum needed, as well as create the short-term wins,
Mm-hmm.
assemble an army. How are you going to achieve that goal, and is it realistic? We worked for a company at one point, they wanted to send mail to the moon, and I was like, why would you want to do that? Great marketing, right? The first
Uh-huh.
company ever to send mail to the moon. So it's weird. So sometimes these big ideas, you kind of need to reel people in. And also, I think for us is it can't just be financially focused.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're looking for like revenue and ROI and just kind of spreadsheet information, I don't think we're the company for you. We can
Oh
do it,
no.
but
We can do it. It's not just like companies and teams and groups in general that we focus on. I mean, we're focused on nonprofit work, we're focused on individuals. Like for
true.
me, on my side from the UX and marketing side, it's artists, creatives, nonprofits, churches, etc. So, I feel like we cover the gamut, but the values, like we're hard workers, we work with integrity. And in my opinion, and proof is in the pudding, so if you hire us for a job, you'll see, we're going to go above and beyond to make sure that we do everything we can to address your needs. But on the flip side, the client, the person that we're working with, like we need to know that they want to do the work. They want to be,
Hmm.
they're invested. And I think that's the difference is I do not want a client to come and say, "Hey, I want you to transform my team. I want you to coach all my leaders in my organization. I want you to build us out a full website and social strategy." And they're not interested or invested throughout the entire process to be part of the process, and be excited about the work, whether they know how to change or not, or whatever. Do they have a strong positive desire to do the work? And I think that's what separates out the clients that we do take on versus the clients we don't.
And one more data point on that to yes and something that I
Yes.
find that is important for us, and I don't want to take it down the biblical route, but you'll get it in context, is to create discipleship. So we want
Yes. Yeah.
others to do the same. So
Yeah.
my mentor took me through a year-long leadership program for free. The agreement that I
Wow.
had to sign was I had to do the same. So pay it
Yeah.
forward. That's the
Right.
contract. So not that we're contracting people to pay it forward, but it is part of our core values is how are we creating better people to help build other better people?
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought it was interesting. We talk about incentive a lot, right? Especially in corporate America. Everyone's always waiting for their bonus and production goes up right before reviews and then it
Right.
drops back down, right? It's a vicious cycle. What if, companies actually took the time to invest and incent people for investing in people? All right, you upskilled your entire team this year, right? You
Right.
did X, Y, and Z. You've done a great service to the organization by keeping, so to me, it can't just be about retention.
Mm-hmm.
How are you actually looking at people differently and caring and feeding them, right? To cultivate, to grow. It's like planting crops. You
Right.
can't just put seed in the ground. You have to understand what kind of soil it is. You have to understand what the right crop is, what the climate's going to be. How are you going to feed those crops? How are you going to harvest them? So all these things, we take for granted. It's the same with people. How are we going to cultivate, grow, harvest? All those things. Harvest is probably not a good word for people, but you kind of get the point. I don't
I
want to
do.
harvest anyone's organs here, but I
It's a
think that
culture of
that's
caring.
yes, and a lot of people find that to be stupid,
Right.
which is amazing to me. It's like you actually don't want to care for people while I'm at work. You spend more time with the people you work with than probably the people you live with.
Right.
Why are we so resistant to building better relationships at work? Because to me, I got to say, it helped my relationship at home when I had better relationships at work because I wasn't
Yeah,
miserable.
no, I totally get that. But I also feel that work culture has changed a lot post COVID. There is a lot less investment from organizations in their people. There's no more training. I mean, it's rare that you hear about a company that actually invests in training for their employees or the performance review. And I'm sure I've talked to so many people who have said performance reviews are a joke. I don't even fill them out anymore. Or I mean, how is it that corporations and organizations, and I'm not talking about just big corporations, I'm talking about a lot of businesses that do not care about their employees, that will replace you at the blink of an eye, that will not pay you what you are owed, that do not provide any incentives. So, why should people be happy at work? It's hard. It's hard to keep that level of positivity and encouragement and wanting to do a good job. I've talked to so many people who have said, I want to do a good job, but I just feel so beaten down. Like with Third Entity, I want to create this culture of caring. And I feel like you and I both, we put out so much into other people that I want those people, like you're saying with discipleship, to go out and do more with other people, whether that it's at work or whether it's at home. Because if we don't keep that going in the world, it will become a very cold place. And it already does feel kind of cold.
It does. I mean, you feel that oftentimes, and you and I used to joke about this. Often, when you walk through the doors at work, what changes in most people' personality, right? Like you get up to go to work, you're not.
Right.
I should say, I'll speak from my point of view. I won't generalize it. I got up and would go to work. I'd be miserable. I don't want to go to
Yeah.
work. I
Yeah.
don't want to go drive and sit in an office that I don't talk to anybody or no one talks to me. I literally, my entire team is spread across the country. So I just hop on a video call for, all day, every day. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it does water down the ability to connect. There's a great book by John Maxwell, People Communicate, but, don't connect, or something like that. We often communicate, but don't connect. I'll put the book in the show notes, but
Okay.
great book around, you could talk, but are we connecting, right? Or are you just
Right.
listening because you're
Yeah.
appeasing me? So
And I would say that the clients that you and I want are the companies that are interested in investing in their employees, in their teams, because it does make the work better, because it does make the product better, because the output is better. And they realize that. I do not want clients that have no desire, no interest in investing in people.
it's funny you say that, because when I was working for one of the big five consulting companies, and my clients were like Fortune 50, Fortune 100 clients,
Mhm.
they would bring people like me in to basically help transform the culture.
Right, right.
Yet they never did anything to actually transform the culture. You can't
Right.
rent a transformation, right? Like, you have to, and I truly believe this, part of what when we're talking about leadership coaching, is how do you lead from the top and not be command and control, right? Kind of from the back of the room, understanding how to look at people differently and lead people differently. Like,
Mhm.
just, you don't have to kick them up the hill, right?
Right.
Sometimes you can help lead them up the hill differently. So yes, it was always interesting to see how they would bring a team of people like me in, and then absolutely hammer us to deliver change. And you just can't, a third party cannot deliver change in the way that you probably want it. The level
Well,
of
yeah.
disruption you need to have leadership do is important. And you
Right.
have to look at it not just from a numbers, dollars, and cents perspectives.
Yeah. So I want to move into another question. For someone who's not heard of third entity, or people that really they're curious, okay, well, what is it that you offer? How would you explain the services that we offer to our clients?
I think you're better to answer that question than me.
Okay. Well, to summarize, obviously coaching, mentoring, UX and marketing. So, like for example,
And
love building
UX
a
is what?
Oh no, I feel like I'm in one of those interviews and I'm like, "Oh
No,
no,
I'm
it's going to
just
be
no.
UX, user experience."
Thank you.
So, user experience, website building, social strategies, content creation. We love creating content, data and analytics, SEO. To me, that all kind of goes hand in hand. Even events, like love. I've been putting on events for years. Worked at Memphis Business Journal, putting on huge events. Worked for lots of nonprofit organizations doing events, did my own events. Love putting together small, big events. And then working with teams, like, in workspaces and leadership. And I would say even and
Absolutely.
nonprofits, kind of the
Yeah.
smaller organizations, because truly like our passion is helping people. So and helping artists, marketing, creating marketing materials. I mean, pretty much anything and everything underneath the umbrella of UX marketing, coaching, product strategy. So I mean, you could look at our resumes on our website, thirdentity.org, and you can see all the things that we've done. But love taking on all different types of clients because the work is so interesting.
So I think the audience is probably understanding why I was nervous to approach this,
Why?
or why I get, in the sense of why I get tongue tied when someone asks what we do, because it's a lot, right? So
Yeah, it is.
so to me also, one of the things that I love working in is emotion.
Yeah.
So the emotional field of an organization or of a team or of a group, like, most people are like, oh yeah, everything's great. Well, what happened? How do you deal with each other when things aren't great?
Uh-huh.
I look at things very much from how you run a household, and it should
Right.
translate into everything. And working with little kids, right? Like, how do you approach little kids? If you tell your young child to go clean their room and their room's a mess, have you ever watched a little kid try and clean their room? They are overwhelmed, right? Where do I start? What do I need to do? But if you tell them, hey, listen, go pick up all your socks and bring them into the laundry room,
Mm-hmm.
that gives them a clear assignment, and they feel accomplished because they're not
Right.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to understand how to task people, how to receive that task, but also to the person that's receiving that task has to be comfortable with saying, I don't understand what you're asking me to do.
Right.
A lot of people are afraid to say, I need more information. Help me. This isn't clear, right? And a lot of people are not great. And this is one of the things that Kathryn is super amazing in is being able to translate. This is why we're a great team. Because if you can kind of see that our third entity is present right now, I am all over the place. And she keeps things on track. She's organized, right? So I think it's important to have a balance, but also understand how to read the scale when it's not balanced. And sometimes that's okay. You don't need to be balanced. Sometimes you need to shift more on the creative, or sometimes you need to shift more onto the kind of project management, date-driven kind of activity. Or sometimes you need to balance it in the middle. You need to be creative, but also know you have a deadline. So I think it's important to understand how to deal. And one of the things I love dealing with or love working with teams on is how to be in friction. Like truly how to deal with friction or resolution. Confrontation. I love it. It is fun because it's amazing to unlock that kind of gem in people when they're like, wow, I never thought about this.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many people, how many people we've worked with that later in life have come to us and said, they've come to me a few times, and I'm not sure if they've come to us, but any case, doesn't matter. In the sense of, wow, this has helped me at home. I can't believe that I've used this now in my daily life and it's become part of me. So when these things become part of you, and when we say build better people, that's our goal. And if we can do it through a working situation, personal, it doesn't have to be a company. We work with individuals, couples, groups. So I think it's when you start to really build those disciplines in people to understand how to read things differently and also have that emotional intelligence, it unlocks an entire new world. It really does.
Right. Okay. So I also wanted to touch on AI. So how do we incorporate AI into third entity? And this to me goes back to when we first started the podcast, you were talking about bring a humane perspective, like focus on humanity, which is a rarity anymore. So AI, in my opinion, is there to enhance the skills you already have. It's you are the star, but AI can help in so many ways. So, a lot of people fear it. A lot of people think, oh, it's going to replace everyone and everything. And oftentimes we do swing the pendulum to an extreme point of view with things like this, but there needs to be a balance. AI is a very useful tool in how quickly you can accomplish things, automate things. But at the same time, you need a human being operating it, someone with a brain.
So I'm uncomfortable with AI. I'm still uncomfortable with it. I still have a little bit of baggage from prior sins with AI or prior problems. But in the sense of building out my last role, building out architecture for AI landed me out of a job.
Okay.
So think for me, it's what's the goal of using AI? Why do we want
hold on. Sorry, going back to your to your job where you're doing AI architecture, would you agree that that was a misuse of AI and how they treated people in exchange for the AI that they were incorporating into the company?
So yes, and kind of going to where, in the sense of what was the goal of AI? Why are we racing to implement a solution? What is it? What problem is it solving?
Right.
What problem? And are you being transparent? Is that truly the problem you're solving, or is that what you're selling people to make them solve a problem that has a totally different kind of, hey, end result? We're looking to lean out the organization. We're looking to now
it's an
remove these professional disciplines because they're expensive, right? And we can now do it quicker with a different level of yada, yada, yada. So,
and that goes to ethical use of AI, right?
And I think ethics, big
in
word,
general,
big word. So if you're not
and
ethical,
not used a lot in current times.
I think people use it, but they use it as lipstick on the pig.
Right.
Hey, we're ethical, right? Look at us. But then when you lift up the hood, you're like, wow, there's nothing ethical about this.
It's lip service.
You're using AI for certain things. You should be transparent about it. Honestly,
It's
at
almost, to
that
me,
point.
it's an abuse of power. It's an abuse of the tool, not for the good of humanity.
So I'm going to
It's
put, go
for
ahead. Not for,
capitalism.
yeah. And so it lines with my whistleblower statement, right? Especially
Yeah,
in fintech, it's often a race to say we did it first. It's kind of like,
right. Oh,
when
we did it. We use
they
AI.
were going, when the US was, going against the USSR to get to the moon, right? Who could
Mm-hmm.
claim victory first? What was
Right.
the point? So to me, I often use the John F. Kennedy quote, and you've heard me use this in actual sessions, as far as people really struggle with goal setting. And when we talk
Right.
about AI, what's the goal? And if you think about when JFK said, I want to send a man to the moon, what was the goal? Was it to send the man to the moon? No, the goal was to return them safely to Earth.
Mm. Yeah.
People
Great
often
point.
confuse what the goal of things is. The goal is always to me, should always be lying within something ethical. And if not, we should understand why we're willing to go that route with no secrets, right? We should
Right.
be,
Right. Like you said, transparent.
yeah, just that word's abused anymore. It's kind of like
Trans.
transformation. I try and stay away
So
from all
true.
these buzzwords. The consulting industry, and a little bit more about my background. I've been in the consulting realm for, gosh, over 15 years. So I've seen so many trends come and
Mm-hmm.
go, and transformation has been severely abused, severely abused.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of these words start out with good intentions. It's to me like transformation is, I've read a few books about transformation and agile and all this, and it's very intellectual and it's very interesting. But people take it and they twist it and they turn it into something that benefits them and their agenda, and it loses value and meaning. And people become sick of it because it's like, here we go again talking about transformation. Everybody talks about transformation, but no one does it well, and that goes into my next not my next question, but my next statement. So I've worked at we both have worked at a lot of companies that have had a lot of ideas and could never execute the ideas and execute them well. And I know a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of people could comment that it's super frustrating when you're working, for yourself or for a client or for a company or an organization, and there's an idea and it's, hey, we gotta do this, or we want to do this. And so you put a lot of work into, strategizing and coming up with an execution plan, and you can't execute for various reasons. And it's so frustrating because most of the time, from what I see, the foundation wasn't there to begin with. The goal setting, defining what it is you really want, and that doesn't mean you have to be slow, right? Like, you don't have to be slow in execution. And you could probably attest that I'm one of the fastest people in execution. Like, I'm not going to sit there and waste months of time when I could do it in 2 weeks. So I think one of our strengths is actual execution. It's building the foundation, it's taking people through the process, and it's actually executing a product of value. Whether that's a website or a different way of thinking, it could be tangible or intangible. I mean, would you not agree?
No, I would agree. I would agree, and I think we also understand how to meet people where they are, right,
Right.
and not club them over the head like a baby seal and drag them away. But I think it's meeting them where they are and setting realistic. As we started this, it's setting those realistic expectations. And
Right.
when I was enterprise coaching in the agile space, this is probably terrible for me to say on a podcast, but a teaser. Hot take. I think I used to go in and say this. You sure you want to do agile, right? We're going to do the lowercase agile. If you want to do the capital agile, because agile's like teen sex, right? Because everyone wants to do it. Wait, let me finish.
Okay. All
Agile's
right.
like teen sex because everyone wants to do it. Many say they're doing it. Everybody else seems to be doing it more than you. Very few of you or your friends are doing it correctly. And you start getting a reputation when you spend too much time doing it, right? So
Uh-huh.
we
Yeah.
lose at what does that mean, right? So to me,
Right.
I love to be in your face kind of. I am inappropriate Andrew a lot, but in in a caring way. So I create these statements that spark kind of this cold shock to open up the brain differently, to look at it saying, well, are you truly one? Agile is a mindset, not a framework, not a way of
Mm-hmm.
working. It's a
Yeah.
mindset. So we need to think differently. And what are we willing to disrupt by our thinking differently? And then we look at that blast radius, and I talk with my hands. Sorry for everyone that's just listening and not watching. I'm a hand talker, but that blast radius, right? What's closest to the blast and what
Mm-hmm.
reverberates further out. I think it's important to understand the impact of change and then
Mm-hmm.
how to harness that impact, and also share that this is going to be disruptive. Prepare to
Right.
be if you're not uncomfortable, you're not doing enough. You're not changing. There
Yeah.
has to be a level of discomfort, but it doesn't have to be pain,
Yeah, I
right?
was about to say there are different levels of discomfort, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we work with a lot of introverts that are uncomfortable putting themselves out there, but I will say too that we've been able to coach people through that so that it's not, to your point, painful. It's uncomfortable, but uncomfortable means growing, So there's got to be a level of discomfort to a certain extent. It doesn't mean that your entire world falls apart, So I do
Yeah.
want to make that difference or
But
state
you
that
have,
difference.
it does take some courage. I mean,
It does. Being brave
yeah, and that's scary. I mean,
and
using the
vulnerable.
example, yeah, of social media,
Yeah.
this has been a huge step for us to open ourselves up to some of the feedback we get, right? It's
Hmm.
not all good. Go ahead.
Comments.
Comments, yes,
Comments.
comments on certain social pages is interesting to see how people interpret
Right.
certain things.
And how they internalize things in a way when it was never meant to be that way. So
Or
it is
it makes me want to understand. I want to
right.
understand more of why you feel. What did we say that triggered that? And
Right.
let's talk about it, right? So I think that's courage is a hard thing to create for someone else.
Hmm.
I
Right.
think it's creating the trust that you have their best interest and that you're not going to put them in harm's way without a safety net.
Yeah.
You can't just expect people to walk the tightrope every single
And
time with
push
no
them
net
out
when they've
there.
never, right?
Yeah.
So, especially if you haven't provided them the understanding of balance and then
True.
practice balance. And I used to joke with people, not joke, but I used to push back on my clients a lot is, you brought up training earlier. And I
Right.
said, training's great. Everyone should be lifelong learners. If you're not continuing to develop, it's kind of what's the point? Like
Hmm.
everyone needs to continue to develop. What companies, in my opinion, fail to do is allow people to apply the learning.
Right. Life
So,
application.
so how are we applying what we just learned so we can understand the teaching?
Right.
It's kind of like discipleship, right? So if you are creating that discipleship, people really have to understand it, but then they can put their own flavor to it.
Yeah.
And we provide kind of the foundational knowledge to not say you need to paint like Monet or
Hmm.
Picasso, right? You paint
Just
the
be
picture
you.
any way you want, but
Right.
here are the tools to paint whatever or construct or create whatever you think based
Yeah.
upon kind of that set of tools.
And execute. So
You
be
love
able to
that
apply
word.
it. I
Kathryn
do.
loves that word,
I love
execute.
the word
She is
execute
such a
because
driven executor.
I really love to execute. I love it because I just like following through. I don't know what it is. Okay, but going back to what you're saying,
Wait a
so
minute,
that
wait a minute,
what?
wait a minute. I
Pause.
need to unpack that for a second.
Okay.
You're wrong use of the word pause, but
I know. I'm
actually
pausing
it's the
though.
correct use of the word pause. So let me share a little fun fact about Kat. What's one of your favorite things to do on paper?
Write notes, make lists.
No, make lists.
I
How many
make
lists
lists.
do you make in a
I
day?
have 4 going right now.
And
But
how many
nothing
times
ever
do you rewrite the same list?
I told someone this the other day. We were laughing. To do when you become more of an adult, you have a to-do list and you don't mark them off. Like you mark things off, but then things replace those things. So you have a constant running list of to-dos. But I always end up having I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that love writing on sticky notes. I'm a big sticky note person. So yes, I have lots of lists. I actually really love my lists. I like writing it. I'm not so
Do you
much a
see how
digital
happy she
person.
is right now?
I am.
The listing
Organization.
it creates bliss. I've
It
seen
does.
Kathryn pop out of bed at like 6 in the morning. I'm like,
Yes.
what are you doing? I I got to start my list. What?
That's right.
List?
Yeah. But I will say, I do want to make this statement that I do not over process things. So I'm not an over processor. Like, I'm also very flexible. So when I'm executing my list, it doesn't mean I have to do all of it. So I want people to understand that. I don't like
So
over
why
processing.
you do stress out about your list?
Shh, be quiet.
Not
No.
because you're over processing, because literally
Well,
there's not
yeah,
enough hours in the
there
day
aren't.
for Kathryn to get everything done I've never seen
Because I
anybody.
like things to be
It's like watching
executed.
a time lapse. Literally watching Kathryn work is like watching a time lapse.
I don't
It's
like
like
things not being
a
done.
it's like a tennis match. You're like, ooh,
I'm not a
ooh, ooh, ooh.
procrastinator. We can say that.
No, no, you
Absolutely
definitely are
not.
not.
I
Definitely
rarely
are not.
ever put things off. But we're not talking about that. What I want to talk
No,
about
but
next.
wait, but
What? But
wait,
wait.
there's more.
But wait.
This translates into some of the work that you do
Oh,
with
yes,
clients is
absolutely.
understanding how to load balance your day so
Yeah,
you
that's
can
true.
effectively execute.
Yeah.
See?
Oh, that was good. I like that. I do know how to prioritize, so that's good. Okay, so my last question, is it time? Because I have one
No,
more question.
you can ask as many. There is no
Okay.
time box.
Okay, I have one more question that I would like to use to wrap us up. Unless you have more questions. My question is, okay, what I'm excited about 2026. I'm excited about the things that we're going to offer through Third Entity. So are you excited?
I actually am very excited. I am really excited to put. We often talk about why are we building everyone else's company
Right.
for free
Yes.
when we should be doing this for not
Because we
only
love it.
ourselves but
Yeah.
for others. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And I will
and
say
finding a way to make a living.
we started the business in 2021, but because we both worked full time at other companies, we did some freelance work, and it was never like fully 100% we're dedicated to working at this full time. So just this past year, we are doing that. And we're taking on selective clients, and 2026 we'll be taking on more. But I'm also super excited to offer some fun, interesting things like the Wells Salon. And there are going to be some other event type things that we're going to be offering. So I'm really excited about what 2026 has in store. And we love helping people. So and going back to getting paid, I think everybody everybody realizes that you got to live, you have to be able to eat, we're not out to be billionaires or millionaires. We want to be able to help people at an affordable price, which we've always been dedicated to that. So, I think that's why a lot of our current clients partly like working with us is because we're good at what we do and we're affordable.
And there's a
Thank
lot
you for
of
listening to my
yeah,
PSA.
right. There's a
I
there's
wanted
a
to
pat
state that. It's important.
No, it's important. And I think too, we also, I just lost the thought, but there's also an aspect. Oh, facilitation. It's one thing
Hmm.
we didn't
Ooh,
really touch on is we really focus on how to become better facilitators as
oh,
well. So
yeah.
facilitation is a huge part of my work that I focus on because I do a lot of facilitation, or I used to do a lot of facilitation and
Mm-hmm.
training.
Yeah.
So when you're in front of people that don't want to be in the room, how do you get engagement, or how do you reflect back on why people are there to spark engagement? So to
Right.
me, understanding how to lead from the back of the room is important, but also understand how to be present. And that goes back to what I was talking about earlier, is how you show up, right? Your
Right.
emotions, how do you emote your face? What's your body language saying? Are
Very
you,
important.
with open hands, or are you with, closed heart? You see some of the best speakers that, TED Talks and conference speakers, people that do this for a living, they have a lot of emphasis on how they show up. So
Mm-hmm.
I love, that's another aspect of our work that I really enjoy is the teaching people how to facilitate. And I have a catalog of books that I pull from when it comes to facilitation, but also my own and your own IP of how we've been able to approach the facilitation of things. For example, you could do, I'm going to throw a word out there that I guarantee very few people will know, a pechakucha. So it's like a slide,
Oh
it's a
yeah, I haven't
PowerPoint
heard that in a while.
presentation. You have to do a slide per like 5 seconds.
Right.
So you literally have to deliver your entire presentation in like less than a minute. So how do you hit those points without speed talking?
Right,
So I
right.
think it's important to understand. And also the stupid things that people used to say to do that I feel like no one says anymore, record yourself. Please record yourself. Casting, and I've been podcasting now for almost 9 years or 10 years, not just with The Well, but with a couple of my business podcasts. I always hated listening to my voice. I just never
Which
liked
is
it.
funny because I always used to tell you how much I loved your voice.
Right.
And I was like, you should be a
So
commentator.
so now when I listen to the podcast, I start to listen and I start to notice. I had a manager once who was my people lead who would point out the words I would use over and over and over again.
That's good.
Thank
Yeah.
God for, all this new technology that can call out the words we use too
Yeah.
much, as opposed
Whole
to when
speech
I had
class,
to do it.
too.
But oh man, he hammered me. He was like, you used like 38 times. You used 27 times. I was like, wow, you actually documented all this? He's like, yes, because and I didn't like hearing it. I was like,
Yeah.
you're an a-hole. Why would you belittle me like
For
this?
pointing
And he-
out something obvious.
or he looked at me and he said, well, why would you take it as a negative? I'm trying to help you understand that when you talk,
Yeah.
the fill, right? You don't need to fill every space with a word. You
Right.
can pause when you're talking. You can actually say, I need to think about that for a minute. And you can actually talk as you're thinking and then give the space needed without being, and
Right, right.
right?
Yeah.
So doing that is wild. So
Mhm.
I encourage everyone, if you're delivering something, record yourself. I guarantee you will change something about what you're going to present
Yeah.
because of the way you're presenting. And if you're not confident, I love the term fake it till you make it. If you're not confident, if you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
believe in what you're saying, no one else is going to believe it. So believe it, even if it's fiction in your mind, to force yourself to believe in something. And I say that with a little, tongue in cheek in that, as far as if you're delivering a presentation and you truly don't believe what you're delivering, no one else is going to believe it either. So they're going to be bored because you're just reading slides. Engagement
Right.
we deal with it in social all the time. What gets people to want to engage with someone else's content? And delivering a presentation, a message, a speech, a talk, how do you spark engagement or get the audience to engage? It's hard. It is very, very difficult, but I think that's one of the special qualities and techniques that us at Third Entity can start to help people to build as a discipline to understand how to spark engagement, create engagement, and really focus on what it takes to connect with people to keep them engaged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I went on a tangent. Took us on the scenic route. You got me excited.
Oh no, you
I did.
were. You
I
were
know. And
excited.
I was not super excited about this topic because I am terrible at
Which is
self-promotion.
crazy because this is what
I'm
we do.
terrible at it.
Hello.
I know. I'm terrible at it.
This is why I
I'm
made you
very
do it.
uncomfortable. I know. I'm very
I
uncomfortable with
facilitated this.
putting out kind of the ask, right? Hey, this is what we do. If any, not that we're asking for people to sign up
We're
for
not.
anything.
We're
just saying,
telling people what we do because of who we are.
yes,
This
it
is what
helps
we
people
enjoyed it.
connect with us differently.
Yes. So
And it helps me answer the question, what do I do for a living? Because
yeah, so you better remember that next time we're at a networking event. People are like, "Hey, Drew, what do you do?"
Maybe I'll just ask ChatGPT, write it for me.
You just need to record yourself and play it back at all the events we go to.
Well, I'm gonna listen to this podcast and it's gonna be so cringe. I'm gonna be like, man, why did I say I had so many better things I could have said? I'm a big quote person. I love talking in quotes.
You actually do love quotes. But I would say that our projects are small, medium, and large. I'm not going to use t-shirt sizes because that's so cliche. But
you just did.
no, I didn't. I said small, medium, large.
That is t-shirt sizing.
Okay. What is it? Something grande and venti.
No, I think
Starbucks.
we prioritize people's work and we
Yeah.
create backlogs that you can start to look at and say, okay, this feels like it's a lot of effort that's going to take a long time. Let's look at something we can now can deliver or execute quicker as we're working on the bigger piece still.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be the elephant, right?
Yeah.
Like we can focus on the smaller animals first.
Yes.
And a lot of
Smaller
people don't like that
animals.
statement. They really don't, because they want, when I was in the mortgage business, this was a long time ago. I was a loan officer, and of course I wanted to close the bigger loans. So I would spend all this time focusing on all these big loans because they paid better, as opposed to the guy sitting next to me who was closing volume of small loans, and he made more money than anyone in the office. So it's hard not to take the bait. That's why one of the other things we really emphasize and focus on is prioritization and understanding the value of the work. So how do you
Yeah.
define value? Ask an executive how they define value. I would love to hear in the comments the answers, because literally,
Mm,
how do you define value? A lot of
right.
people, they go right to ROI. What's the return
Yeah.
of investment? And I'm like, that
Which
can't
is
be the only,
important.
but it
It's
can't be the
important.
only. It's a lagger. You have to wait for that. What are our leading indicators that we're creating that helps us understand the ROI and then make changes needed to create a better ROI, a different ROI, or understand why our ROI is not returning?
Yeah.
So it's important that we look at value, and value not only of our work, but of our people. So again,
Mhm.
tying it back to the human aspect of things is important when we look at value and how we prioritize our work. And it
Right.
can't always be, we set the bar here. Great. You all killed it. You all hit that bar. Now we're putting it here.
Yeah,
You
right.
struggled with
Higher.
this one, but we're going to move it up a little bit more. We think you got more. No, let's be predictable. Let's keep the bar the same place every time. And if we
Right.
overshoot it, great.
Great.
But not every month needs to raise the bar, or every quarter,
That's just
whatever it might
stressful.
be.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic. It creates
Right.
a
It's a good word for it.
anti-pattern. It's an anti-pattern. It is fiction, and you end up burning out. We use the euphemism of a high performance drag car, right? Like a top fuel drag, or a drag race car. That engine is made to perform at its highest level, but longevity is not kind of in the mix. If it blows up, you
Yes.
got to rebuild it. So why are we building these people to perform at such a high level? We're building people to perform at a level and continue to be able to maintain that level, and they can go above and beyond, but it should be
Mhm.
up to them.
Yes. Okay.
See, I go on tangents.
All right. Where can they find, we have to provide information since we're talking about third entity. Where can they find third entity?
So you will see all of our information in the show notes. So make sure you click in the description. You can also find us on thirdentity.org.
Yes.
And
And our
it's all
services and
and our
photos and all that.
Yep. You can kind of get an understanding from the services. I guess that's the thing. Like, we're different than just a professional services organization or a consulting firm.
Right.
And I
Which
feel
I
like
don't
every
like. I
consulting
don't like.
firm says that.
I don't like titling us as like professional services and consulting. Like we like solving problems. So whatever
Yes.
problem you have, that's what I want to hear. It's like, hey, I don't know how to get more visibility for myself, or our company is really struggling with this, like those are the kind of things we really thrive on.
I like to categorize us as a Nancy Drew novel, right? There's a
Ooh, tell me
mystery. We
more.
go
I
in,
love
it's a
that.
mystery, right?
Yeah.
And we have to figure out the mystery, whether
Are
it's
we
a murder
detectives?
mystery or it's, yes. I really
I
think
love
that
it.
that's the type of work we do. And if I had to sum it up, you just help me answer what we do. We're detectives. We
I
figure out
love that.
what the problem, who killed Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick, right? Like,
Can
clue.
I give my can I
Yes.
insert real quick? Okay.
Pause.
I applied for the FBI. That's
Oh, I love this story.
No, I'm not going to go into the story, but I
Oh,
did
you should
apply to
tell
the
the
FBI.
story.
No, as a special agent, and I did the application process and everything.
And she got accepted.
No, I'm not going to go into the story. But now I'm actually a real detective with third entity. So I
That's
really
right.
like that. I love it.
And put in the comments if you want to hear the FBI story from Kathryn, because it's a good one.
Gosh, no.
It's a good one. It's good. It's good.
It's
But
good.
yes,
Offline.
I love how we kind of wrap this up, and shout out to my mom who grew up reading Nancy Drew novels,
Oh,
and we had them all over the house.
And
So
her name is Nancy.
it is.
Your
It
mom's name is
is.
Nancy.
So
Yeah.
so shout out to my mom who, passed 2 years ago now. It's crazy.
Yes.
So yes, it is. We come in and kind of uncover the clues needed to solve the mystery of whatever happened. That's what we want to do. We want to help you solve the mystery and also not just put those people in prison, but understand how to not repeat, or maybe you do want to put them
Execute.
in
No, I'm
prison. I
kidding.
don't
I'm
know.
kidding.
Yeah, right. That's your favorite word. Yeah, Kathryn executes everything. So, but I think this was a good. Thank you for pushing me along to dive into this topic.
Sure. Get you out of comfort zone.
See, we eat our own dog food,
That's
which
right.
it's a terrible term. We used to say,
really
we
is.
drink our own champagne, whatever you want to call it. So I think we also need to truly put ourselves in the positions. A quick story. Sorry, I just can't end things. So I was doing a lot of coaching in product and innovation, and I could never understand why my product people struggled with what I was teaching or what I was coaching or what I was trying to help them get to. So I said, something's just not right. So what do? Genius. I go get a job as a product manager and realize how hard it was.
Hey, walking in someone else's shoes makes a big difference in how you
So I think
approach things.
that's also important is, hey, it's great to coach from the sideline and call the plays, or as I started, the balls and strikes.
Mhm.
We actually have been in a lot of the positions that we're coaching towards. We actually have the working experience in those roles.
We've done our time.
We've done a lot. We've done a lot. I've done a lot in my career, and Kathryn has as well. And I think that's why this is so important to us, is because we feel we're longing for a different user experience in the workplace that feels like it no longer has a place anymore.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't like seeing people suffer.
No, and we're all for change.
Right.
But there has to be a reason for change. It can't just be, this place sucks. Yeah. Why?
Right.
This place sucks. Great. I get it. I can't argue, but I need to understand why it sucks. So again, the detective work. So, and now I'll shut up.
Thank you. No, I'm kidding.
I know, right?
No, great. Those were very good points. That does highlight who we are. Hopefully we did provide information on who we are, what we do, and why we do it. It's really important to us.
Oh, and if you're going to be at, come see us in Orlando in January 14th through the 18th at PodFest 2026. You can come hang out with Kat and Drew if you're going to be at at PodFest 2026.
And get
we were
some
fortunate
merch.
enough to get invited. Yes, merch or just our autograph.
Or just come talk to us. We'd like
just
the
have
conversation.
Kathryn paint you a picture. I mean, she is an artist.
That's true.
But in any case, this is episode 10. Episode 10 of The Well. I'm Drew.
And I'm Kat.
And this was a great episode. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the support.
Everyone.
Make sure you're liking, subscribing, hitting that, reminder button as far as when we're posting content. We try and post every day. So make sure you're following on all our platforms. And we appreciate the engagement and support. It means a lot. So just a quick thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right.
Ciao.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.